We're back with a review of 2017. We're going to move to events and people. It's going to be happy. Don't mention the T word, everybody.
Will not.
So, and we had some nice holiday music coming in, so now things feel much better.
They do. And I'm going to block out what you said about 2018, James. I don't know why I asked you. So let's go around and talk about. There's so many things we could pull from. We don't have enough time, so I ask you each to come up with a couple highlights under that category. Chuck, we'll start with you. Give me something happy.
Okay, so Lisa Howe. I mean, it was so exciting. I mean, voted best nonprofit CEO. I love, and I know we all do, but Lisa is such a breath of fresh air for our entire community, our entire state. You know, and it goes back to the time, you know, when she was, you know, Belmont, she was the coach, and, you know, and that whole incident happened, and she was let go, and then she rebounds, and this is what I love the way that she didn't let that set her back. She just took it and she moved forward, and the LGBT chamber is doing better than ever, you know, larger membership than ever. It's just, this is something to me that really is cause for hope and feeling good and knowing, again, when you get set back, that you can always bounce back. And
right.
She's a great example of somebody who's done that.
For sure. Does anybody want to challenge?
Yeah,
I'm totally.
I
agree.
You don't like Lisa?
No, I love Lisa. Don't put that
We
out.
all love Lisa. She's a frequent guest of the show. She'll be back for sure sometime soon. I read an article in looking at stories that you know, she's been coined the accidental activist. The Belmont exit has been 5 or 6 years. I think she's been with the chamber since 2012, and it continues to grow. And yeah, we're proud to call her one of ours here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, so the next person I'm going to put on the hot seat is Brent.
Oh, okay.
Looking back, what's one of your top stories?
Well, in the vein of keeping it happy, National Pride this year, of course, was a full 2 days, but it was also officially recognized by the Metro Council as Pride Month this year. So June is now officially Pride Month. There's a photo there. We've got Brett Withers and Nancy Van Rees, both out LGBT members of the council. Signed by the mayor. Oh, look, there's Phil Cabucci back there, Pride president. So, I mean, it was a big deal. It's always been in June. We've all been celebrating it for a long time, but it was nice to have that sort of recognition by the Davidson County Metro government.
It is nice because I'll tell you, 10 years ago, Pride wasn't on the map.
No.
I mean, it was, but it was nothing like this.
But it wasn't getting attention from the council.
No attention.
Like, you headed Pride. What was it like trying to get? In the hard times. Yeah. What was it like trying to get help?
In the very hard times. Really, it was just completely different. Calls were not returned.
Begging for money.
Couldn't get sponsorships.
Had to grind your own glitter.
Listen, seriously, and I don't want to date it too bad, but a short 20 years ago, 2000, 2001, that hasn't quite been 20 years ago, we would be at the bars, at the door, asking folks for donations, and that's how we funded Pride.
Really?
And there were, you know, part of it was just strategic planning for the next leadership. A few people would do a great job, and then they'd get tired, and there wasn't a plan for the takeover, so it would dissolve and then come back. And that happened, you know, when I was involved several times. So now, they've just got it. And when you leave an event with money in the bank, chances are it's going to be better next year.
And when you're having to tell sponsors and vendors that you're full, like, that is a great problem to have.
I know.
Yeah.
We're all happy about that. I love Pride. I love that it's 2 days. I don't know if you mentioned that.
I did.
That was
full 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, yeah.
Okay. James, we're back at you for something happy of 2017.
What do you got?
Well, you know, Marissa Richmond has been a fixture of Democratic politics in Tennessee for a long time now, and she's represented Tennessee at the Democratic National Convention a number of times, including being the timekeeper during the 2016 convention. This year, Marissa was elected by the state party to be a voting delegate at the 2020 convention, and so, you know, to have a trans person from Nashville be representing at that convention as a voting member is a real high point politically.
Right, for sure. I mean, we love Marissa and Lisa and everybody. And this next thing I want to bring up, Penny Campbell. Did you all know Penny?
I didn't know her personally.
See, I had the pleasure of knowing Penny through One in Teen, because she served on the board, perhaps even founded, I didn't see that in the story, James, that you wrote, but she definitely was instrumental in getting that organization off the ground, along with Dwayne Fulton. I don't want to leave anybody out, but the Metro Historical Commission approves the first marker to honor LGBT person, so it's going to be a marker at her home in East Nashville. She did a number of things, and I've got James' article here. Abby Rubenfeld's quote, she was an amazing person. She was the lead plaintiff to declare, to be successful in having the law that, I'm sorry, I lost my line. I don't have my glasses on, people. She was an amazing person. She was the lead plaintiff in our successful challenge to the constitutionality of the so-called homosexual acts criminal statute. You know, this is back in 1996 when things are completely different. And she has been described in everything I read as just, she's not going to back down and she's going to stand up. And back then, there weren't the folks doing that. You know, she's gone too soon at 61. It makes me mad about that.
Do you feel like people are standing up sooner and faster and more vocally now, just for rights and what have you?
James, you've got a thought?
You sighed.
I don't know. I feel like it's easier, and so people are. I don't feel like people are standing up at the rates that you would expect them to be courageously.
You mean now, given
now,
the
I think you know it's easier, so you see more people standing up. But I mean, doing what she was doing back in '96 carried with it a lot more risk, and I think was much more courageous than saying.
Well, yeah, one thing to come out and tell people, another thing to attach yourself permanently to a lawsuit and to be that, yeah.
And to risk losing.
And yeah, exactly. That's a good point.
Right. And I think, you know, we got a little complacent to be, you know, rightly so. It's easier to focus on other things, your job, your church, your family. In 2015, we get this huge win, right? 2015 marriage equality?
Yeah.
And then, you know, we're hitting the gut in 2016. I think we're still reeling.
Well, I think, you know, too, we saw when we won marriage equality, we were like, oh, it's going to be great now. And then we saw the whole backlash, which is what, you know, even in the recent elections, when we see some hope for Democrats, which I think is great in you know, Virginia and Jersey and those places. But I also already see backlash just from those small little victories where the conservative right is already kind of going, now they're feeling more and more threatened. And to me, that's what happened with marriage equality.
Yeah.
They felt threatened, and so suddenly we were in the hot seat again.
It's like that caged animal syndrome. You know, you push it back in the corner, and then it's going to fight you.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but you know, really the day after marriage equality, you know, some major national organizations shut their doors because their job was done, rather than retooling and repurposing and continuing the fight. And I think, you know, you can see the complacency in the way that maybe it took a while for people to get behind trans rights and other things, and we were enjoying our victory.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Well, we've got to take another quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna start with the trans win, the year of the trans candidate, 2017. Okay, don't go away. We'll be right back with more 2017 review. Stay with us.